Hello and welcome to Here Be Monsters, a show about monsters, drawing and media reviews. I'm Kev and I like all of the above. So let's kick things off with something about only 5 people have probably seen. I thought we'd start with a film which has a plot most people should be familiar with, if you're up on your Greek myths. That being said, it's a bit different. This is 2006's Minotaur. The original myth, set in ancient Greece, involves a hero called Theseus volunteering to slay the monster when sent as a sacrifice to the beast along with 6 other men and 7 maidens. With the help of the Minoan princess Ariadne, Theseus manages to navigate the labyrinth where the Minotaur lives and kill the beast. There's more to the myth after the slaying, but really that's all you need to know to follow the story here. Minotaur makes some changes, but if I'm honest, they do suit the tone of the film. And for a B-movie, because that's what it is, let's make no mistake, it has some surprising talent in front of the camera. Heading up the cast, you've got Tom Hardy, Rutger Hauer, Tony Todd and Ingrid Pitt. That's right, one of the queens of Hammer horror herself. Outside of Tom Hardy, who I think was early in his career at this point, I have no idea how they got these guys. One of the first things that threw me was the change in the setting. The original myth was set in ancient Greece, but here it's been transplanted to the Bronze Age. Not sure for what reason, unless it's meant to be set in ancient Greek's past, which could be a possibility. Still, made a nice change from the sword and sandal settings we could have had. There's other minor changes, at least in the opening. It's more to do with things like the Minotaur's origins, there's some tweaks to the plot and the character names. Tom Hardy's Theo being slightly easier to repeat given the setting and tone. Again, dumb B-movie. I really like the production design in this. I love the way Theo's village looks compared to the palace at Minos, the labyrinth being a giant underground cave system complete with passages and tunnels. I even like the way colour's been used to the various settings. The film is kinda slow. There's some setup for Theo's village and the gathering of the sacrifices, which has been rounded down to 8 from 14. Probably easier to keep track of for the audience, I suppose, but it takes ages to get to the main plot. It's about an hour and a half long according to Wikipedia, although the DVD I've got says it's 150 minutes, so I have no idea what happened there. Anyway, let's talk about the monster. It's different. The ashy, bony coloration on it really makes for a nice look. It stands out against the rocky shadows of the labyrinth. I like the skull-like design of it, I like the ragged horns, the mangled hooves. There's a gnarliness to it that puts it apart from your typical Minotaur design. There's some parts which you could sort of call man-shaped, but there's more of an overall animalistic look to it. It's more beast than man, which is alright, but I'm not 100% keen on the mostly quadrupedal thing it's got going on. But I'm a traditionalist. If anything, that's my only big criticism of the design. It also has one of the best introductions ever. I won't spoil it, but in my opinion, it's a good one. After the Minotaur is introduced, the film definitely picks up the pace. Characters are picked off one by one, Theo starts to figure out a way to kill the beast, and Tony Todd is having the time of his life. I am not even kidding, he is the best thing in this. Playing the King of Minos, he steals the film with a performance which is just gloriously hammy. I mean, he spends all his time mispronouncing Theo's alias of Shepherd, trying to bang his sister and getting high off some sort of natural gas. I think he kind of knew what sort of film this was and just decided to play about. Other than Todd though, I can't really remember much about the other characters. Most of them are there to get gored, so they get minimal personality traits, and other than screaming they don't do much. Tom Hardy does stuff. He's the main character, but even then I don't remember much about him. No, really. I wrote this after watching the film and I cannot for the life of me remember much, if anything, of his performance. Most of the faces he pulled were the same, and as for motivation, outside of kill Minotaur, I don't think there was much else to go on. After all that, there's not much to say about it. They kill the beast, and then there's about 5 minutes where everything just ends. No big return to the village, nothing much happens in Minos. Everyone who survives just gets out of the labyrinth and the story just stops. That's it. Overall, it's okay. Standard monster movie formula, but the setting makes a nice change. It's worth a look if you like monsters, but no out of the ordinary. Tony Todd's enjoying himself in it, and the beast has an interesting look. Other than that, there's very little stand out about it. Probably why it's so obscure. I only bought it because I like the look of the DVD. even if the cover lied. There is no dude with a spear on there. So, working on this was a bit more difficult than I'm used to. Usually, if I'm drawing from an actual thing which already exists, I'll use references, so Google Images would help with that. However, there was not a lot anywhere. Most I got was like a couple of really dark, blurry shots, and after that I was just working off the DVD cover, and from what I could remember of the film. It really proved difficult, because I'd done some concept work, and I was enjoying the way it was looking, but something wasn't clicking 100%. I'm not sure what it is, but maybe it was just, again, the lack of reliable references. So, in the end, I managed it, obviously, but it took a lot longer to get there than it normally would. As you can tell, I started from, the really rough layout. I had, the rough shapes of the beast already set out, but that took about 2 or 3 attempts to get there before I even started recording proper. I ended up using a 0.7mm mechanical pencil, which is what I use standardly for most of my work, at least all my layouts and that. Then, when it came to the inks, I jumped onto, I think it was about 4 or 5 Unipin fine liners, ranging from the 0.01 to the 0.08. I think it was the 02, 05, and 03 I was using it. And then I used a permanent marker and several Winsor & Newton ones. Again, the lack of reference made it really, really hard to get the actual look. The head was easy enough to design. The beast's shape was really awkward, just with the whole top-heavy thing going on, and the whole more animalistic look to it. So, I think I muddled through alright. The markers I was using were dying, so that's why they look a little bit faded in the final piece. I tried, but I could not for the life of me figure out a way to squeeze any more life out of them than they already had. And also, sadly, my camera ran out of memory. So it cuts itself off about, I'm going to say, a quarter into doing the marking work. So I'm sorry about that. But these things happen. I am quite pleased with the final result, though. For something which is black, white and grayscale, and again, I was only using the Winsor Newton Cool Greys 1 to 5. I'm surprised I got a lot of, well, work out of it. It's certainly not some of my best, but I am quite pleased with how the results turned out. The blood on the horns and the teeth and round the snout really, really turned out better than I expected. I could probably have done a bit more in the background, but honestly, drawing the monster, that's more of the fun at this. I'm kind of happy with the final product. It's not some of my best work, but again, this is a completely new venture for me, so I've really just been trying to make sure I get it done, dusted, and at least to the best of my current ability. I've got some things to still work out, camera positions, maybe some better editing equipment, and honestly, working on my delivery here is going to be a challenge, but I'm looking forward to it. If you've made it this far, thank you very much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you on the next one. If you've got any comments, suggestions, recommendations for films I could possibly review or draw in the future, absolutely feel free to let me know. So, thank you very much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you next time.